It's Friday, the 13th of November 2020. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Today's headlines. Prime Minister Scott Morrison moves to shore up support from the US and Japan as the spat between Canberra and Beijing escalates. That's our main story. Plus, Wesfarmers and Woolworths report strong sales growth. Telstra unveils a new structure, finding $20 billion along the way, and Nine Entertainment wins new advertisers and the tennis. Prime Minister Scott Morrison used his first conversation with US President-elect Joe Biden to stress the importance of American involvement in the Indo-Pacific and asked for support in restoring multilateral bodies such as the G20. Mr. Morrison and the leaders of South Korea and Japan all spoke to Mr. Biden yesterday, with reports suggesting all focused on strategic security in the region. Underlying the conversations was the role of China and its increasingly aggressive stance towards its neighbours. Mr. Morrison will visit Japan next week, underscoring Australia's desire to find allies and keep China at bay. The relationship between Canberra and Beijing continues to deteriorate, with China yesterday extending its bans on Australian exports to timber from Victoria. Restrictions or bans now apply on barley, lobster and coal, while distributors of sugar, copper and wine have been told not to buy Aussie products. Business leaders are now making representations to the federal government, asking for a breakthrough in the diplomatic deadlock between the two sides. The Prime Minister said Mr. Biden had a deep understanding of the challenges and threats in the region and indicated multilateral institutions and agencies were a critical part of working together to promote peace and stability. The current US President, Donald Trump, has broadly ignored such institutions. Let's hope yesterday marked a new chapter of diplomacy in the region. The economy needs it. In overseas news, a growing number of Republicans are accepting Joe Biden's win in the election, although the president himself continues with unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud. How's this for an economic pickup? The British economy rebounded a whopping 15.5% during the September quarter. However, the economy is still nearly 10% smaller than a year ago, demonstrating just how far Britain had fallen. And it's a good time to be an oil producer. Finally, Brent crude has risen to $45 a barrel, up 15% since the announcement of a potential COVID-19 vaccine. Demand for petroleum in the US, the largest market in the world, is back to March levels. Locally, Wesfarmers has provided a healthy trading update for the beginning of the financial year, with sales at Bunnings up 25% for the 4 months to the end of October, notwithstanding Melbourne stores were closed. Sales at Officeworks, which is also owned by Wesfarmers, were up 24%. Even Kmart, which has struggled, recorded 4% higher sales, and that included the closure of 38 stores in Melbourne. The laggard was Target, where sales were down 2%. Woolworths also held its annual general meeting virtually and said it expected sales and costs to remain high for the rest of the year. Chairman Gordon Cairns also apologised for the $500 million in underpayment of staff wages uncovered this year and said the out-of-control industrial award system was partly to blame. Breville Group said earnings this financial year will be up around 30%, following strong demands for its toaster makers and other products. Its share price was flat yesterday, but it's up 56% over the past year. Cheese and ham toasties all around. Telstra will create a separate legal structure for its mobile towers, fibre networks, ducts and pipes, subsea cables and exchanges. The creation of Telstra Infraco Towers was announced yesterday. They won't be complete for another year. It provides the telco giant with optionality in the future because it creates a distinct basket of assets that could be sold off. The assets currently sit on Telstra's balance sheet with a value of around $10 billion, but analysts say they might actually be worth 3 times that amount. Nine Entertainment said first half earnings were expected to increase 30% on the back of a stronger ad market. The group said it had secured international rights to Wimbledon and the French Open for the next 3 years, with coverage on Nine's main channel and its streaming service Stan. Its share price closed yesterday more than 5% higher. And finally, it's been a good year for grain growers. GrainCorp said it will pay a dividend for the first time in 2 years and said the current crop outlook was strong, similar to the record year in 2017. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. There's more on all of these stories in today's full Fear and Greed podcast. as well as an interview with Dan Rosen, Chief Executive of ARIA, about the music industry. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.